Hello, my name is Marjorie Fortin. I had the sleeve operation on Monday, and I originally was scheduled 5 weeks prior to that. So I was on a liver shrinking diet for 5 weeks, and so that was probably to my best interest. My son got married 2 days prior to me having surgery, and actually that worked out better with the rescheduling because I was able to go to the wedding with no pain, and I was okay. 2 days later, I had surgery. I had to be there at 10:30 in the morning at Lehigh Valley Hospital in Allentown, Cedar Crest Boulevard. Was I nervous? No, I was not nervous at all. I was very excited. I could not wait to have this operation because it was going to give me a second chance. And quite honestly, I've had 2018, January 5th, 2018, I've gone through so many things. Quickly, I had a ruptured brain aneurysm. I have a titanium coil in my head. That led to a stroke. Um, and then when I had the stroke, I was sitting on my toilet bowl in my bathroom, and I passed out, and I got wedged between my toilet bowl and my shower wall right over here. They had to have a rescue squad come and remove my toilet bowl to get me out of there to free me. They brought me to my local hospital. They found out I was breathing. They life flighted me over to Bethlehem, and there began a long journey. Um, my family went there, my friend went there, and it was a matter of life or death, and they didn't think I was going to live. But I tell you this because having this surgery was like a breeze to me in light of everything that I've gone through. When they life flighted me, they got me there. They said, "Okay, she's bleeding. We have to." Okay, but my stomach was all black and blue, and they were like, "What in the world is going on?" And they realized that I was bleeding from my stomach, so they had to make a choice to operate on my stomach or my head because it was both. I could die either way. So they opted to operate on my head, put a titanium coil, operated on my stomach, cut me open. I was bleeding internally, and that's when I had a second stroke. That paralyzed me on my left side going down to my leg, and that was a whole different thing. So I've gone through the mill. I was in the hospital for 87 days in total. The second, actually, I think it was I don't know if it was a few days or a couple of weeks after I had the second stroke, they had to send me for therapy. So they sent me over to Naden Hutton in Lehighton. Next thing I knew, I was being life flighted back by helicopter back to Bethlehem because I had a blood clot in my lung and a blood clot in my leg, and I had a high fever. I didn't leave Bethlehem with that, but I was going back to Bethlehem with that. So they treated me for the first 2 weeks with one antibiotic, and it wasn't touching the fever. So then they gave me another antibiotic, and they gave me all kinds of medicine, and I was delirious and hallucinating, and it was just horrible. Then finally, when they got rid of the fever, I started to go for therapy again. And one morning, when um, they said, "Marjorie, come on, it's time for therapy," I said, "I can't, I'm not going." And they said, "What do you mean you're not going?" I go, "I can't move from my waist down. I can't move my body from my waist down." They go, "What do you mean?" I go, "I can't move it. I can't move it." And they were like, "All right, let's go." So it was an alarm, and they're looking to see what's going on, and I was freaking out because I was like, I start to cry, and I grabbed the nurse and I pulled her next to me, and I said, "Please help me. You saw I was walking yesterday, and now I can't even feel my lower body. Please help me." So I said, "Get the neurosurgeon to give me an MRI. It's just to find out what's going on." So they did that, and then 2 days later, I had back surgery. What the neurosurgeon found out is that I had a tumor in my lower spine, my lower back. The tumor was intertwined with my spine, and it was going to be quite complicated. And so the surgery took 9.8 hours. But, I was not wanting to have that operation because I thought, "Oh, no way, I already had two strokes. I could have died. Now I'm going to die on the table. You're not going to have another stroke on the table. I don't want to have this." And the doctor was like, if it's cancerous, Marjorie, then you could be back here anyway, and it could go up to your brain and kill you. So why don't you just get it now? And I was like, no way. And so he gave me a couple days to think about it, and he came back like it was 2 days later, and he was like, so what do you think? And I talked to my sister, and she was like, Marge, you kind of have no choice. And I didn't want to die. I just thank God that I was alive. I didn't want to die. I have my family, my grandchildren. It was not my time yet. Obviously, it was not my time yet if I lived through 2 strokes and all of that stuff. So, um, I had the surgery. But the second stroke that I had left me with neuropathy. And I was not really aware of the neuropathy because I was relearning to walk and I was all drugged up and I was in pain and I didn't know like what was like I was when you have a stroke and it affects your body, like you have to relearn to walk. I mean, your brain knows that you can walk, but your brain has to retrain your body to walk again. So it was so hard, so hard. So I did all that. And then I started getting better, and eventually I got out of the hospital, and that was January 5th, 2018 is when it happened, and I got out March 27th, and so it was 87 days. So, me having this surgery, I thought, this is not going to be so crazy. I don't have to be scared. I've gone through the mill. I've gone through a lot of stuff in my life. That back surgery hurt my back. Whew, that was painful. The stitches in my stomach. Wow, that was painful. Um, the neuropathy. The neuropathy is like, feels like you have big chunks of wood in your feet, and it's like constantly pins and needles and numbness and freezing and hard to walk, and it's so tricky. And so, me going for surgery for this was like almost like a cakewalk for me because I've gone through so much stuff, and I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried like, for brain surgery or back surgery or whatever. And also, years ago I had a cesarean, my fourth child, I had a cesarean. So I was in pain for 6 weeks, and talk about pain. Whew, that was painful. With those stitches across, they cut you open and it's like the staples are there. Back it was staples. My son's 25, or yeah, so it's 25 years ago. So they actually had staples. It wasn't like glue, it was like staples, and they had to be removed, and it was painful when you walked and you had to hold your stomach. So talk about pain, that was that. So I wasn't really fearing the surgery. So anyway, um, I went for the surgery. I had the surgery, and um, when I went for the endoscopy, I realized that they were putting the anesthesia in my arm, in my IV, and I realized I was going out of it. He was like, "Oh, the anesthesiologist goes, oh, you're going to be out in 5, 4, 3, 2." Well, she's out, and that's what I last remember. Now, my son told me when I go for um, the surgery, he said, "Mom, you're just gonna remember two big lights in the ceiling." So when I was laying down, I was like, "Oh, that's right, Davy. That's what Davy said. Two big lights." So I was looking at the two big lights, and honestly, that's all I remember. The next thing I know, I was waking up in the recovery room, and commotion's going on, and they're like, "Okay, you're done." The doctor said everything was good, and then the doctor came in and said everything went well. It only took about an hour and a half. um, no complications at all. Everything's great. So I was very happy. I was like, "Oh yes, thank God that everything went smoothly." And I had asked a bunch of people to pray, and I was saying, if you're a praying person, please pray for me that everything goes well. And it did go well. So thank you for everyone who did pray for me. I appreciate that because that matters. So then I went to my room, and they give you heavy duty drugs to combat the pain that you feel. And now, mind you, they brought me over, and then I had to walk to my bed. And when I went to get a walk, I was like, "Oh my God, whoo, did that hurt? did that hurt? Your stomach feels like it's just dropping. There's nothing to hold it because they cut the muscles. And so, holy cow, that hurt. That hurt so bad. I was like, okay, Marge, just wait, just and the nurse is like, don't worry, we're gonna give you some drugs and you're not gonna feel it anymore. So I went to the bed, and now I have neuropathy, so I have to walk with my walker, and the gown that they gave me was too long, so I had to like pick up the gown so I didn't trip on the gown, hold on to my walker. She's holding on to me, and then I get into the bed, and then um, trying to get into the bed when your stomach is hurting and all that. The nurse was very sweet. They were very nice at Lehigh Valley. She had to pick up my leg and help me put it in, and I felt like embarrassed. I was like, I don't even care. Just, yeah, I can't lift up my leg because I have neuropathy. Can you help me? So then she's like, oh, sure. So she picks up my leg, and then she gets me all settled. She gives me some Oxycontin, and boom, that's the last thing I remember. Then I was dozing off, and then she came in and she said, okay, we're going to give you some oxygen. So I was like, okay. And she didn't really tell me why. She goes, do you feel better with it? And I was like, yeah. And then she goes, you feel like you need it? And so then I go, yeah. So she just put like a little, and that kind of helped me. And then I heard her telling the nurse, yeah, she keeps dropping. And I gave her some oxygen because her blood pressure was dropping. She keeps what they call it. Um, I don't know, something dropping out or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I needed oxygen. So I had the tube in my nose, and so then that helped me. And so I slept overnight, and um going to the bathroom, they helped me. Um at first you can't urinate very well, but then you eventually can. And that's what they're concerned about. As long as you can go, by the time you leave and you drink, like they have 4 cups that they use. They're like little, like if you get some medicine, they like the kids medicine, and then